By Blair Baldwin. He is in Idaho, and recently he made a visit to South Georgia. If people have been to Veterans State Park in Cordele, they have seen the military exhibition there. There's a number of tanks and planes there. One of them is a B-29, and Blair's father actually flew in that plane in World War II, and Blair got to visit it. Blair, that must have been a big thrill.
It was on my bucket list of things to do after my dad and his remaining members of his crew had a reunion there at Georgia Veterans Park in 1987. And he gushed about it. And so it was on my bucket list, and I took two very close friends, and we made the trek. And it was I still have goosebumps just talking about it, because I mean, that was my dad's plane.
Your father Alfredo flew in that plane during World War II. Tell us about that.
My father was a tail gunner. He was intending to be a pilot. As the story that my mother told me, he drove all night to the enlistment office, and he was a little bit blurry when they did the eye test, and he didn't pass the eye test. So they did make him a pilot, but he was only 5 feet 5 inches tall. So tail gunner seemed to be a good place, because let me tell you, that's a very little cramped area back there.
So it must have been a thrill to go back and find out. I mean, it had to be amazing to think that that one plane survived, because there are not a number of these planes left anywhere.
Well, and in fact, that's not your average B-29 either. That particular aircraft is the only one left of its kind. That was originally designed as a reconnaissance aircraft. And as such, it was designated as an F-13A, and it's the last one of its kind anywhere in the world. So that makes it particularly special. My father was involved in many weather reconnaissance and reconnaissance missions for the 19th Bombardment Group, but then towards the end of the war, they did participate in some of the bombing runs. The flights went from Guam and Tinian all the way to the main islands of Japan and back, which was about an 18-hour flight, which was pretty much the maximum for those aircraft.
We wanted to tell this story because it is Veterans Day tomorrow. Your father, one of the many veterans who has served, and it's an interesting story tying back here to South Georgia. So we appreciate you joining us and telling us about it. And to all the veterans out there, we say thanks for your service.
Indeed. Thank you all for your service.